SummerSlam just finished, and we have so many questions. So, Tiny Mike, Anthony the Mark, It's Real to Us, the wrestling podcast. We are going to talk about it all right now. Tiny Mike, let's start with Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. We saw the betrayal of Dirty Dominic Mysterio on his mommy, Rhea Ripley, to join his stepmommy, Liv Morgan. He helped her retain the title. What did you think of the match and the heel turn, the double heel turn?
The whole thing. The match itself was a good match. Talk about a hell of a heel turn. To be heel and to turn heel in a heel turn manner. Like you were already the bad guy and then you became more the bad guy. Excellent.
Heel squared.
Best part of the match was definitely the heel turn there. Definitely think Liv Morgan was doing a good job playing the heel early on, switching the dynamic up. Going inside the ring, outside the ring, getting away from it, getting inside of it, getting outside of it. Very good. What do you think?
The mental warfare by Liv was the right decision in the beginning because she wasn't going to out-muscle Rhea Ripley. You saw early on, Ripley used her power, her size. It was only when Rhea dislocated her shoulder that Liv Morgan was able to get herself back in this match, and then Rhea, like a beast, just went ahead and popped it back in by throwing herself into the turnbuckle. But in the end, it didn't matter because Dirty Dominic Mysterio turned on Rhea Ripley to help Liv Morgan win, and then he gave Morgan a big old kiss right in front of Rhea Ripley, and I hate Dominic Mysterio.
So that was the match. Let's talk about how we feel about it.
Yes, that was the match.
You don't like it?
No, I loved the match.
You just say you hate it.
No, I hate Dominic because he turned on Rhea Ripley. I think it's great storytelling. I'm interested to see where this dynamic goes. Rhea trying to get revenge against Dom. I've wanted to see Mysterio get hit with a riptide for a long time, and I think we're getting closer to that. So I'm excited. I think it was a good match, but I hate Dominic Mysterio so much. That stupid mustache. I want to punch him in his face.
I think this probably did the best job tonight in setting up future stories with where to go. Because this match dictated where the Damien Priest match goes, no?
No, absolutely. Great point.
So I think for what this match was given, it was given, what, like 15 minutes?
Yeah, 15 minutes.
And the idea was to get over the story of the future. And it did that. It did a very good job, like switching up the roles. Rhea's now a babyface. Future further along in the show, Damien Priest becomes a babyface as well, even though he already kind of was.
We'll get to that later.
But this was the seeds for then and there. Rhea, how's she going to respond? You're going to have to check out Monday Night Raw. What made Dom act the way he did after saying what he did?
Yeah, Dominic was getting licked by Rhea Ripley on Monday Night Raw. He got licked again at SummerSlam.
And then he starts sucking face of Liv.
Yeah, so you figured things were good with him and Mommy. At least it felt that way on the surface, like amends had been made. But perhaps Dominic just got tired of the disrespect and got tired of the abuse, and he decided he wanted a piece of the good life with Liv Morgan. Or was this a plan all along?
Dominic could be like you and me. Anybody likes attention. He got good attention from a smoking hot baddie like Liv.
I think they did a good job of letting this come out first, especially with, we'll talk about Gunther and Damien, how all of this played into the World Heavyweight Champion Damien Priest mindset. But another thing I liked about this match was it excited me about the idea of a second meeting between them. Obviously, there's more to this story. So
there's more in the tank.
There's more in the tank.
Got a whole lot left in me.
Got a whole lot left in the tank. So Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, great way to start SummerSlam, great way to kick off one of the biggest shows of the year, and then it was followed by Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker, and I'm going to throw it right to you, Mike, because I know you have an opinion you want to share.
What did I say on the pre-show or the pre-show predictions?
You said that we could have done this match, or you could have had Braun Breaker win it, Money in the Bank, and it didn't need to happen at SummerSlam.
Exactly. Yeah, and what did we get this match?
We got a 5.5-minute match that I just was fine for what it was, but how are you going to give 5.5 minutes to Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn and tell them to, put on a classic? It's just you can't do it in that amount of time.
Would you call it a glorified squash?
I would call it a glorified squash. The rumblings for a while have been that Sami Zayn's going to join the Bloodline story, and Braun Breaker really should have won it Money in the Bank. So this was an expected outcome, and I think WWE recognized that, so they were like, hey, we're going to give other matches more time. Sammy, Braun, go out there for 5 minutes. Do all of everything you can, jam it into 5 minutes, see if you can make the crowd happy. And on a show with a lot of good matches, I think that this was clearly, definitively 7th. For me, at least. I think Mikey is in the same boat.
Yeah, no, 7. In my opinion, what does this do for Braun?
It sets him up to be a champion going forward.
But
Sammy had a good run. Okay, Gunther had a great run. Sammy had a good run. Now a young, up-and-coming guy gets an opportunity to fill 2 veteran shoes. It's going to be a tough task.
You get the opportunity to do all that, yes, but I think the way you don the shoes matters a lot, especially if it's your first time.
I mean, he didn't do anything wrong. He won in convincing fashion. He was on the right side of the squash, so that only helps him in his title reign going forward, no?
No, it was like 3-minute match here, back and forth, and then Braun Strowman hit a spear. He did another move, and then hit another spear, and then that was it. It wasn't like over-the-top example. It wasn't like Brock Lesnar beating Cena, suplexing him 20 times and hitting the F5 or whatever and winning. It didn't feel concise like that. It felt like, okay, you have 5 to 6 minutes. Go back and forth for half of it, then let Braun kill you for the other half of it. And I just feel like we're getting a lot of okay, Braun to the moon, Braun to the moon, Braun to the moon, and that's going to hinder him. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
No, I hear what you're saying, but I think going back to kind of what I was alluding to, WWE recognized that they were drawing this story out, okay? They knew that Braun Breaker was going to win the title. They knew that Sammy's got, different stories coming up for him. Whether it's in the bloodline or not remains to be seen, but they were going to push him in a different direction. And I think they understood that. A lot of the fans realized that too. So instead of giving them 20 minutes to go and, see if they can have everyone buy into the idea of Sammy defending the gold for a second time against Braun Breaker, they just gave Breaker a convincing and decisive win to help start his title run. I get where they're coming from. You want him to look like a beast out of the gate, and how do you do that? By squashing the champion.
He looks like Ryback. He's Ryback.
He's Brock Lesnar, Ryback.
Ryback.
He's a muscle hamster.
Feed me more.
You aren't a fan of him, but I am. I see big things for...
Are you a fan of how he gained the title?
I'm a fan that he's champion.
Are you a fan of how he gained the title?
He beat Sami Zayn, yes.
Are you a fan of how he beat Sami Zayn?
No.
So
but
we have a no. After trying to
dodge
the question.
I'm not dodging the question.
2 times
I'm not
over.
dodging the question.
You dodged it.
I like Braun Breaker.
And I got you. I caught you on the fish hook. I got and you got.
No.
You don't like how he won the title. I don't like how he won the title. I don't like Braun Breaker. You like Braun Breaker. That's okay. When it comes to getting the title, it should be in a way that, okay, we could grab the title and we could move with it. Nobody, I think, is coming out of this being like, Braun Breaker should have the title. Braun Breaker is the man. No, he was given it. He just squashed him over, a guy who Sami Zayn beat him in a 15-minute match that people consider really good last pay-per-view, and he just got buried. That's just the continuity error for me. It doesn't make sense to have the exact same match with a completely different outcome where the other guy just reverses everything that happened in the first match. What, are we going to have a third match between the two that's going to be a 45-minute classic submission only?
I like the take of the continuity error because, yes, from an in-ring point of view, it doesn't make sense that Sami Zayn, who had been a fighting champion, an awesome champion, would go down so quick to Braun Breaker. He did get offense in, though. It wasn't like he got no offense in.
That's what I was saying. First half of the match was back and forth. You got 3 minutes of it back and forth.
Right.
Second half. Sell me right.
Woo!
There you go. Second half was just like, it was all Braun Breaker. It was mush. I'm disappointed with it because it's like, what kind of respect do we have for Sami Zayn after that? It's like, okay, Sammy, thanks. You held it for 100 days. We're going to have you get squashed, and thanks for doing a job for us. And we're going to give you 5 minutes? This guy main evented WrestleMania. This guy was Head and shoulders the most over thing in the bloodline. This guy he got Chad Gable over as his Mickey.
Defeated Gunther as longest IC title.
Longest IC title reign champion.
Look,
he beats him in a stellar, some say a classic.
Hey, I get what you're saying, but because of everything you're saying, he can afford the loss. Everyone knew coming into this match, Braun Breaker was most likely going to win the title. Everybody, if you asked, what match are you most looking forward to? Sami and Braun was low on the list. So WWE opted to put their new star over their old star. You know, if you want to call Sami older star. Braun Breaker's going to do good things with the Intercontinental Championship.
I don't think many people like the match. I'm just heartbroken.
I get it.
Just a little taken back.
I get it, but let's judge this match in a couple of months once we see what Braun Breaker's title reign looks like. So let's go ahead. We'll move on to the third match, which was the United States Championship match between the then champion Logan Paul against L.A. Knight. Yeah, and I say yeah because we have a new champion, the long-awaited moment for L.A. Knight. Good things come to those who wait, and for every single one of us who have been rooting for L.A. Knight, we got an awesome moment when he beat Logan Paul.
I think this is probably match of the night.
You think so?
I think from an in-ring standpoint, this match delivered from start of the match before the bell rang to when the bell rang and we were tussling on the outside to the end of the match with how it finished with the shenanigans. I think it's just a very well-scripted match, and it made sense throughout, and everybody got what they wanted.
Hey, you want to know what? That's a pretty solid take. I was happy throughout. I was entertained throughout, like you alluded to when they started fighting before the bell, going out on the table and stuff. Like, you felt like that this was a personal rivalry, and you needed that type of a start to the match.
That's a very good point. I felt like Logan Paul hated LA Knight,
Yeah.
and that LA Knight did not like Logan Paul. Logan and LA Knight, you knew from the start, were pissed at each other, didn't want anything to do with each other, and it was just back and forth. Great wrestling, I thought. This is what the show needed to kind of pick me back up after such a poor second match.
Yeah, pretty fluid throughout. We got a couple of fun cameos, too. Of course, Logan's entourage was there. And then we had Machine Gun Kelly give Logan Paul the brass knuckles.
He gave him the brass knuckles.
He gave him the brass knuckles. And everybody knows the brass knuckles are Logan Paul's calling card. And at that moment, he delivered. And I thought, Logan Paul's going to retain. And despite all of the shenanigans, all of the heelishness, LA Knight got a clean, decisive win. And that's why I like this moment so much. It's because it was hard-fought, hard-earned up until the bitter end. From Money in the Bank last year to SummerSlam right now, tonight, LA Knight's been striving for greatness, and he finally got his moment.
Yeah, this is definitely my highlight of the start of the show. Took a while to get there, I feel like, because, we opened the show with the two girls and heartbreak. Dominic's breaking up with Rhea. The second match, trash. Third match is this. And it's like, yes, LA Knight finally did it.
Yeah. It was the first good feeling. Like
first good feeling.
Yeah.
It's what we needed.
We enjoyed the Rhea Liv match, but we're disappointed. We're like, what is he doing?
Exactly. Now, with LA Knight going forward as United States champion, how do you feel the mid-card over on SmackDown is going to look going forward?
I think it's the land of opportunity. So with Logan Paul being away all the time, not consistent, showing up to SmackDown, only defending the titles twice, you kind of got that Brock Lesnar part-timer vibe. And now you have somebody who can be a workhorse. And LA Knight, he's just going to fight everybody. So it doesn't matter if it's Santos Escobar, any member of the Legado del Fantasma, Andrade, Carmelo.
Andrade deserves a title shot.
Yeah, especially after beating Melo twice.
Corbin, Cruz are there.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of guys who hopefully LA Knight will square up with. As for Logan Paul, the guy's got all the tools in the world. He's incredible.
He could go take 2 months off and be in the world title scene the next day.
He gets it.
He gets it.
Yeah. This is not a bad thing that he lost. If anything, it was inevitable.
I think it's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing, too.
I think because the United States Championship is a mid-card title. It's for your B-plus players to excel and thrive in.
Mm-hmm.
Logan Paul is an A-plus superstar.
Yeah. Logan Paul's a man.
He can talk the talk. He can walk the walk, and he could stunt like nobody else. He could do frog splashes off 20-foot ladders. He could do cartwheels on a Hell in a Cell top of a cage. It doesn't matter.
It's a fun image.
This guy has it all.
He does.
And I think, have the great run. We don't need to make him the longest United States champion, but we can have him be 2, 3, 4, whatever it's at, and then go for the world title.
And it was such a perfect run because, as I said, he only defended the title twice, so he can boast about being, like Michael said, the third longest reigning United States champion of all time. But us fans will always throw, you only defended it twice and you lost it on the third defense. But either way, Logan Paul, not enough good things to say about him. Have him take a break.
I think that might be match of the night for me.
If it's your match of the night, I got no complaints. I understand it was great. So we're going to move on now, and we're going to talk about the second women's match of the night. Bayley defended the WWE Women's Championship against Queen Nia, and after a well-timed distraction from Tiffany, Princess Miss Money in the Bank, Queen Nia was able to annihilate Bayley's WWE Women's Championship run and become the new champion, Michael.
It was fine for the most part. We had a really cool power slam with Bayley getting Nia up. I thought that was great. But then once Tiffany came out, the match was over. And that's just my issue with this match because it's like I feel with Triple H, we've seen this in the past. It's let's bring up this is the spot. Tiffany's going to come down to the ring, interfere. She's going to miss. Bayley's going to get distracted, and Nia's going to get the win, and that's going to be it. It's short, and it's quote-unquote sweet. I don't like it when you see every match kind of follow that same mold, it seems like, where we have a situation to get us out of
the interference.
Yeah, the interference is just quick, it's impactful, and that's it.
It's almost like a giveaway. It's like, oh, there's interference, match is going to end.
Yeah, exactly. It's a giveaway. And that's what kind of killed the match for me because that's what I take away from the match. I remember Tiffany coming down, and within 10 seconds later, the match being over. And then there was a power bam Bayley did on Nia, and that's all I take away from it. And it's SummerSlam. This is second biggest show of the year, and this is how we're doing our matches. And I'm not even happy.
So I understand what you're saying, but because I feel that it was the right book, I think Nia should have went over, and I think Bayley should have lost. As we talked about on our podcast before, our preview show, Bayley has been lackluster. Call it what it is. She has not been a good champion. The dynamic between Nia and Tiffany is interesting. So because it was the right book, I did not mind that the match was maybe cut short, if you want to say, after Tiffany interfered.
I feel with Bayley, though, it's not fair to her that the most interesting thing about the match is the thing that Triple H isn't booking. It's just Nia and Tiffany being friends off screen and bringing it on screen. Whereas with Bayley, she hasn't been given any.
Tiffany and Nia's relationship, as you just referred to, developed on screen because of what they did off screen. Okay? That happens in wrestling all the time.
But that's not fair to Bayley.
Bayley needs to have a little bit more interesting of a personal life then.
Well, Triple H needs to help her out a little bit.
You know what? And it's also
that's on him.
It's backstage politics too. How do you know Nia and Tiffany didn't go to Triple H and pitch the idea of working together?
I think it's them walking into it because Nia and Tiffany made TikToks together.
All right. Well, either way, Bayley, whether she hasn't been given anything,
she wasn't given anything, and it was the right call taking the belt off her. But it's just like it's a shame, and I feel now you're gonna get stuck in limbo of Tiffany doing the. Well, I'm joking like angle. We've seen it before. I don't need it. I'm
excited to see the relationship between the queen and the princess deteriorate because it's going to fall apart. We know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. So I'm all about the journey on this story. Okay, maybe you're more the destination. You just want the end result right away. That was the second consecutive title change, and it was a theme on the night because there were a lot of title changes.
Well, because it's Triple H and it's SummerSlam, and we need title changes. This is the big show.
So we're going to move into our next match. Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk with the special guest referee Seth Rollins. Here are the bullet points of this match early on. Rollins got in both McIntyre and CM Punk's face throughout. Seth Rollins, he did a couple of slow counts. He turned his back a couple of times. And in the end, CM Punk had it. Okay, he saw Seth Rollins with the bracelet that Drew McIntyre stole. Thought that was a direct push at him. He hit Rollins with a go-to-sleep, and this allowed McIntyre to go low on Punk, hit a Claymore, and get the win. Tiny Mike, what was your impression of the match and everything that took place?
I'm not happy. I think this match just is dragging on for another match down the line with either these three guys or two of these three guys or whatever it is. This SummerSlam match is to sell a match further down the road. And it just that bothers me.
I get that. I understand
you
why
get
you
that?
would.
This is the party of the summer. It's the biggest show of the summer, and we're selling a show in November.
So you're saying that they're using this match just to prolong the feud and get bigger, better matches down the road? Because it did feel like they were holding back a little.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like that maybe not just for this match, but they did that for a few other matches this show.
Maybe, but that didn't stop me from enjoying it. CM Punk looked good. That was a big takeaway for me. I was worried that Punk, he's had a couple matches since being in WWE, only one televised at the Royal Rumble. I didn't think he was going to look the part. I was worried he wouldn't be able to hang with Drew McIntyre for 15 minutes, and he did.
So you're saying it's a tune-up match?
I'm not saying it's a tune-up match. I didn't say that. I'm saying I was worried that Punk wasn't going to look good, and those worries were washed away because he performed well.
But do you not think it was slow?
There was no botches. It was clean.
It was a slow match, though. It wasn't no fast,
CM
high-octane
CM Punk is 44 years old, and he's recovering from a torn tricep. What do you want? Like a young...
I want a tune-up match, and that's what you got. And you got a match that's going to tell you a story for today and tomorrow and for next month.
There's nothing wrong with that. We know that the World Heavyweight Championship picture is going to be probably busy for a while, and that Punk, Drew, and Seth Rollins are going to have to fight each other for a while.
Yeah,
I was entertained by it. Were you not entertained?
I didn't love the ending.
That wasn't the question.
No, but the ending's a big thing. Like, was I entertained with the match? I was entertained with the idea of, like, wow, CM Punk is on WWE television, a one-on-one match for the first time since whenever.
Yes.
The contents of the match, however, disappointed me because we're giving you, okay, soft and easy until the finish. And they were just going back and forth, nothing high octane, just to get to that end point where it's like, okay, Seth's going to do this and this. It's going to piss me off, CM Punk, and I'm going to get involved and hit him with the move and cause this. I don't know. I feel like most people are going to say they really enjoyed this match. With what the standards I had, I'm just let down with how they delivered.
Hey,
I just speak that?
Is
that okay?
It's absolutely okay. I consider wrestling subjective, and we all respond to it in our own way. So if you didn't like that, perhaps you will like their future matches, because it definitely does feel like we're getting more of this down the road. I'm excited for whatever comes, the fallout of this. I just want more.
I think that, though, it's the hottest feud coming into this show. Solo Sikoa and Cody Rhodes isn't.
Maybe Liv Rhea.
Liv Rhea maybe because it's hot now, but this has been going on since since the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And we're going to give you a match on the first, like, okay, you've just waited 6, 7, 8 months for this, and they're going to go at it, and you're going to have to wait another month for it. That bothers me.
But
that's the match you're trying to sell me on this show.
You're acting like you got nothing, and you got a lot.
I got the next story in where this match is going to go, and I didn't want that. I wanted something now and just mighty.
You got something now. It might not have been mighty.
I got them fighting over a damn bracelet. That's what I got.
That bracelet was such a big part of that match. I honestly did not
Plastic and string?
I know. That was funny. But going back to just the story, that's like nice storytelling right there. Okay, like you're not.
That's a story. That's a new story.
What's
the
not?
Storytelling is okay. Drew McIntyre, I don't like you, CM Punk. I'm going to cost you this. Okay, you costing me this, I'm going to cost you this. And then, okay, that happened now, I'm going to cost you this. And that goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, like the Prestige.
It was just CM Punk costing Drew McIntyre. That's all it was. He cost him at Clash of the Castle.
Drew McIntyre costed CM Punk with the tricep. He injured him.
He started it.
He wanted him out.
I guess.
His thing was like, hey, I just want you not fighting in WrestleMania. And then CM Punk comes back and he's like, well, I don't want you winning this.
Okay.
And I just feel the impact Seth Rollins had wasn't great enough to make the difference. He was just...
Would have liked to have seen a stomp.
Yeah, I feel Seth Rollins was just too much of playing like, okay, I'm the referee. I'm going to make the pinfall. I'm going to be fair down the middle. Like, he tried playing to that role, Whereas CM Punk was like, hey, you're getting in the way. Drew McIntyre, hey, you're getting in the way. Like, they were buying into Seth Rollins causing a commotion, whereas Seth didn't cause a commotion.
Yeah. You wanted a little bit of a commotion, a little bit more of a pushback from Rollins.
Yeah.
And I get that. That's fair. And perhaps we'll get that down the road. And maybe that's why Tiny Mike's upset, because it does feel like a tune-up match for bigger and better things to come. So we'll leave that there, and we'll move on to the World Heavyweight Championship match, which featured Damien Priest defending the world title against Gunther in what I am going to say was the most physical match of the day. Gunther was bleeding from his chest. Damien Priest was red. And in the end, we had another shocking development in the Judgment Day. Finn Balor turned on Damien Priest and cost him the World Heavyweight Championship against Gunther. And this comes after Damien Priest came back before the match, and he's talking to Finn Balor, blaming him for Dominic turning on Liv Morgan. Finn had enough, and he decided to blow up the Judgment Day, Mike.
I know, that's crazy. The writing's been on the wall, but got to see what's going on Monday night to see why Finn did it.
Yeah, it didn't really register with me that Finn actually turned. Like, when he came down to the ring, everybody was like, okay, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But then Finn was trying to help Damien, and Gunther kicked Finn, and it looked like Damien was going to win, and then Finn put Gunther's foot on the rope. I didn't.
Very confusing finish. Like it similar to the Dom perspective, where it's like, okay, I'll help you out, and they help him out a little bit. Like, Finn came down, he was being cheerful around the side. Same way as when
Dom stopped the chair.
Stopped at the chair. He's like, hey, you have to win it this way.
Yeah, I'm helping
And
you.
then just like 20 seconds later, they go the other way.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
That doesn't make sense to me. And it's just like, it's booking to be like, I gotcha. But in like perspective of like the wrestlers themselves, does that make sense?
No, it doesn't. And that's a very good point. But I want to talk up some of the positives of the match. I think
this is the best Damien Priest title match you got.
Yes, I 100%
But you're
agree.
also with Gunther.
You're also with Gunther, but 100% agree. Damien Priest looked like an absolute beast in defeat. He was getting choked out, and he got out of it, and he went for Finn Balor. Damien saw blood in his eyes. He saw blood in the water. He needed to get his hands on Finn Balor, and that's what cost him in the end, because he had Gunther on the ropes, but taking his eyes off Gunther, putting him on Finn Balor, like I just said, it cost him the World Heavyweight title.
I mean, for the story they're telling, like, it's the right way to make Damien and Rhea faces.
Yeah.
Have them get their titles costed. I do feel bad for Gunther. I feel, thinking about this match, my last thought is always like, oh, yeah, Gunther's now WWE World Champion.
Yeah, it's almost like an afterthought.
It's an afterthought to the Judgment Day. And
Right.
It's a shame for Gunther. But with how Triple H does things and how he's just going to lollygag for the first 3 months about being champion just to make his title reign credible or whatever shenanigans we want to tell.
Well, Gunther has to have a long title.
He's
reign.
going to be champion for 7 years.
He might be.
I'm going to lose all my hair by the time he loses his title. Overall, with the whole night, this is the spot in the show where I'm like, okay, this is too many shenanigan interference matches.
Yeah. Dominic Mysterio interferes in the first match. Sammy, Braun, clean, nothing to worry about. LA Knight, Logan Paul, you had Logan Paul's entourage, and then Machine Gun Kelly get involved. Then Tiffany comes down, helps Nia Jax win. Then in Seth Rollins, he's continually interfering himself with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. That one, I guess, though, you can't really chalk up to interference because he's there the whole time.
No, but it's like fishy.
It's fishy, okay? And then now Finn Balor gets involved. So there was a lot of, we'll use the word, fishy finishes tonight.
Didn't even mention how bloodline rules. You expect it to happen.
Yeah,
It's
we'll get to
fair,
that in a
but
minute.
That's the only match where it's like, okay,
It's justified.
It's justified, yeah. That's my biggest qualm with this show. We didn't even talk about the main event, but it seems like we're using Summerslam, biggest party of the summer. Come ahead, watch. It's going to be great. And all you're getting is, okay, here's a reason why you have to continue to watch.
Yeah, I get that, but that's also part of SummerSlam's gimmick is we're setting up these stories going into WrestleMania. So these are the stories that are going to outline
WrestleMania,
the next handful of months. So I understand where you're coming from. You wanted more definitive, decisive answers, clean finishes, matches, moments being tied up, putting a happy bow on it. But that's not what SummerSlam is. SummerSlam is about prolonging and figuring out what direction our favorite superstars are going in.
I think SummerSlam could be used like that 100%, but to do it for 6 out of your 7 matches is lazy to me. And that's why, like, I'm just going to say right now, this show is going to be nothing more than at most a B- for me.
I respectfully disagree. So before we get to our grades, let's go ahead and let's finish the wrap up, or let's finish talking about all the matches. So let's go into the main event. Bloodline Rules.
Bloodline Rules.
Solo Sikoa challenged Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, and after the entire bloodline got involved, Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton came back. We saw the tribal chief Roman Reigns make his grand return to WWE television to help Cody Rhodes vanquish the wannabe tribal chief Solo Sikoa.
Ooh, ah!
Ooh, ah!
How cool is it to see Roman?
That was amazing.
Roman's the man.
I was watching, and I felt myself being a fanboy. I was watching it with a tear in my eye. It just, it felt good. It felt good.
Just to go back to my previous point, all the other shenanigans take away from this one a wee bit, but this is the only high-profile level shenanigans that works for me other than Dom turning on Liv. Even Finn turning, it's weak to me. I think this is a groundbreaking, like, okay, this is a SummerSlam moment. Roman returns, and he's fighting against his previous family. Like, that makes, like, all the sense in the world to me to, like, be your main event, be your closing angle, and everything. To try and mimic that in every single other match other than Solo, because we're like, oh, yeah, not other than Solo, other than Sami Zayn, because we're like, oh, Bron Breakker's the future, and he runs fast.
Tiny Mike did not like the interferences, but it sounds like, I think, from what I was able to decipher from that, don't flip the table, it sounds like he was in on the Bloodline Rules match. And
that was good.
I'm just going to give you my quick 2 cents about it. It was awesome and everything it needed to be. Solo Sikoa, is he the greatest in-ring worker? No. But he got the job done until the boys, the Bloodline, showed up, and then all hell was able to break loose. Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, great pops, and then Roman Reigns returning after months and months of people chanting, "We want Roman." It was like a hero's return. It didn't feel real for a minute. Everybody knew it was coming, but just seeing him, I was very much watching in the moment, in awe, and I think this is a SummerSlam moment. You look back 4 years ago when Roman Reigns came back as a heel, as the tribal chief for the first time. It really is a full circle moment because now he is the biggest babyface in the company returning at SummerSlam again. So I thought that this was excellent from start to finish and a great way to cap off what I thought was a great show.
Can you explain why it's a great show?
I think it was a great show. One, because I was 7 for 7 on my predictions, and I'm the mark.
And
I'm the mark, and I love being right.
You're not a good mark.
7 for 7.
You said just yesterday that Bloodline Rules match would be stupid. It makes no sense.
7 for 7.
Other than that, can you explain why, from an entertainment point of view, you think this is a great show?
I was entertained. You just put it right there, okay?
No, from an entertainment point of view, what were you entertained
I love shenanigans. I love Dom.
In every match?
I didn't mind it. I really didn't. Like, I didn't hate it. Like, sure, I understand where you're coming from, where it's like, okay, I'd like a clean match. Let's just have, some near fall.
Somebody should go over somebody.
Yeah.
That's what your pay-per-views are for.
No.
That is where you draw the line in the sand. To have, okay, you're going to come by our show and spend money and spend multiple hours to watch it and be told, hey, check in tomorrow night. It's a slap in the face.
No.
You can't do it for 6 out of your 7 matches. That's not fair.
You're not wrong. I hear what you're saying. And did that impact the card? It absolutely did. Was it a perfect show? It wasn't. But your question was I entertained? I was entertained. I love the cracks in the Judgment Day. I love that Damien Priest looked good. I love that LA Knight got his moment. Nia Jax winning was the right book. Roman showing up was awesome. The one really negative moment was Sami getting squashed. And we agree on that. So I see this card for the positives, whereas it's like it feels like you see it for the negatives.
I feel like you're trying to paint that narrative.
I'm not trying to paint that. That's what it is. You don't like the card. I like the card.
Just every match had just too much interference for me. And the one match that didn't went 5 minutes long. And then I sat here for 4 hours watching the show, and I felt like after every match I was like cheated on what I was expecting for an outcome.
I get it. And this is just where we have different opinions. So what did you think? Oh, we didn't even talk about maybe even the best part. Jelly Roll had an amazing choke slam.
That was insane.
That was awesome, right? Austin Theory sold the crap out of it.
He was able to grip him by the neck and lift him 10 feet in the air.
Yeah, and then he
what
was
strength?
Yeah, what strength? One hand, Austin Theory, like you said, 10 feet in the air. He had a couple chair shots. Then he did the "You Can't See Me." Took him a little while.
3 of them.
Yeah, it took him a little while to get up R-Truth, and the Miz had to help him. But that was a lot of fun. What did you think of SummerSlam? Let us know. Reach out to us. You can find us on Instagram, X, and TikTok at It's Real to Us, and on YouTube we are at It's Real to Us 1. Tiny Mike, let's go ahead and get your 1 to 10 ranking on the show.
I'm gonna give it a 5.
Wow, that is wrong. I'm sorry, that's just wrong.
5 is wrong?
That is that's a failing grade.
Okay, fine. I'll change it. 1 to 10, I give this show a 6.5.
Okay, passing with effort.
I'll give you a passing with effort.
We'll take it.
Just too much interference for, like, if it was if this was a B show, okay, we could have all this interference and hoonah. But every single match, other than the one match that went 5 minutes and was a squash, had interference and reason to be like, hey, you better check in next week to see why this happened. It's a slap in the face to the viewer. It's a slap in the face to the thousands of people who paid stupid amount of money in Cleveland to go watch a great wrestling show. You have interference after interference after interference affecting every single match, causing every single match to have repercussions to go later on. I get you're trying to sell the narrative. I get you're trying to sell a future story, but at some point, like, it's not fair. Other than maybe LA Knight and Logan Paul, you're getting screwed over.
I'm just going to quote Lola from Big Mouth. I am all about the drama. And that's why I like this card, because you had tons of drama. So that's where we defer. I'm going to give the show an 8.4. I was entertained from start to finish. My favorite match, I think I'm going to give it to Bloodline Rules. What did you think? Did you like SummerSlam? Did you not like SummerSlam? You somewhere in the middle? Let us know. I am Anthony the Mark. He is Tiny Mike.
I am the king. I am the voice. I am the face of It's Real to Us and what really is true.
And in case you didn't realize, Tiny Mike heel turned tonight. So we'll see you next time on It's Real to Us, the wrestling podcast.
Bye.